Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this new video on our channel. It has been a long time since we have published videos, approximately 6 months ago when Newstorm was released. In this video, basically, and as I promised in the two previous series, is to have a view on Newstorm. What was the update that were done since that time, and especially what are the results. And you will be seeing how I usually manage my risk using this EA and how I did manage it on a live account. We're gonna go through my live account, the 1K account challenge that I have put in place in order to see the performance of this EA. So let's stop the introduction and let's jump to the main topics. All right, first of all, let's go through quickly the user guides of Newstorm. Let's talk a little bit about what is being added, and I'll talk about the risk calculator a little bit and jump to my accounts and talk really about the signals that we had, the results that we have done so far, and so on. So let me jump back to the user guide. Let's go back to configuration. Basically, you have those configuration that I really use on my accounts. I don't use other configuration, and I use them really on my account. You have the links to the two signals that we're gonna check, and you have all the inputs. Here, I'm not gonna go through all the inputs. I'm gonna go through what is new and why we have added those since the last video, so you can also be aware about what is being added. First of all, what is being added is we've added a refresh of the period of getting news, because when investing.com is releasing news, sometimes the news time is, let's say, 8:30. However, the news is not really released at 8:30. So we're trying to get those information over and over and over from investing.com. And sometimes the news are available on the website a minute later. So it's too late to take a trade and we need to stop. This is how I usually configure my EA, but I gave you those two configurations so you can also manage by your own. If you feel that after 30 seconds you need to stop, well, this is the configuration that you need to use. Also, what we have done is I added a ignore news filter, because I noticed that we have the oil that is, or the oil news inventory that are tagged as high impact USD on investing.com. However, their impact is not really that linear with USD. It doesn't mean that if we have a positive announcement there, USD will go up or go down. So I prefer not to trade on those events, and that's why we have added the ignore news part. And the last thing that we have added is basically related to the grid essentials, where before we had a kind of a tolerance factor calculated based on ATR, but you as a user, you didn't have really the hands to, let's say, change the 8-hour period, ATR time frame, and so on. Now, basically, I replaced that configuration with three inputs, which are the multiplier, the ATR period, and ATR time frame. The idea in this grid is basically if you're using a not a volatile or not a adaptable grid size, you can just use the grid distance, let's say 200 points. However, if you choose to go to a grid size that adapts to volatility, what it will be doing is each time we're opening a trade, or each time we're gonna have a tick, we're gonna check the ATR, and based on the ATR, basically whatever configuration you have, we're going to decide if it's the time to open a new grid or not, or to open a new trade or not. And basically that's all what we have adjusted or added since the last release. Let's now jump to the risk part, and of course we're going to jump later on to the challenge part, how I manage it, and all the details about. All right, let's talk about now the grid risk simulator. First of all, just so we align all together, I'm not telling that trading a grid system is a good idea or not. I'm not telling you to go and trade grid. I'm just trying to expose here wherever I have in my EA. I trade grid, and I traded for a long time. It is all matter about how you calculate risk, and all it's matter about not to be greedy and use it like for a low risk. And to help you doing this, what I was doing in my system is I had a kind of calculator to know where I should start in order not to risk, let's say, a lot of money. I have added this paragraph. It's difficult to explain, but if you want to go and make it simpler, just go to the grid risk simulator, and this one you simply have some inputs. You can go read all of the information here. It's very valuable, frankly speaking. But for the risk calculator by itself, let's say I'm someone who's starting with 100k. I want to risk only 1k in my batch, and let's say I'm putting a space grid of 200 points. I'm doing a multiplier of 1.5 as example. I'm just opening 8 let's say trade during the grid, and my pip value is 1. Usually all the big forex pairs like USD, GBUSD, etc. XOD are 1 pip per dollar per lot. You can check this in the configuration of your broker, of course, and adjust it. And let's say I'm putting an initial lot size to 0.01. If I do this, basically, if I go up to 8 trades and the market still go, let's say, down on me, if I'm starting with 0.01, I have 8 grids that are opens. I have a 9th, a 10th, a 11th. Still, I'm not reaching my $1,000, let's say, which is 1% risk. Well, now if you want to play it riskier, let's say, 0.01, it's not the lot that I want to use. I'm going to start with 1 lot. You can do it. However, when you do a 1 lot, you can see at the 8th position, you're already at 3.5%. And if you go and you open a, not really open, but if the market still continue the other way of your open trades, with 1 step, you're already at 36% loss. And a step more, you are at 46, a step more, you are at 56, and a step more, basically, you have blown your 100,000 account. So the idea is not to go and put a lot of risk on your system. The idea is to calculate the correct amount so you're comfortable with the loss. Whenever you are hitting an 8 level trade, you're comfortable with the loss. And you will see over the last couple of years that I traded the system, we never get to this level, but it's all about statistics. I cannot guarantee that we'll never get to this level in the future, but up till now we didn't get it. So please use this calculator. It's very important just for you to understand if you're using a small account, for example. I'm using a small account. I'm starting, let's say, with 0.01. What would happen? Basically, on the 8th trade, I'm already losing around 4% of 40% of my account. So you need to pay attention to this. And really, this is what happened in my 1K challenge. Not really at this level, but we're going to talk into details how I managed the risk and how we have got out of it. Okay, enough talking about risk and risk calculator. Let's jump to the challenge and the real account trades. All right, as you know, I have 2 signals that are running. One is running since the release of the EA, which I called Newstorm's 1K challenge, because I started with 1K to show how we're doing things. And I have another one which is running since a long time now, September 2023, and also it's running the same system, but with different configuration because it's a bigger account, but the same system. So I'm gonna talk about more the 1K challenge, because most of who are buying the EA are trying to do it on small accounts and later on bigger accounts. So the bigger account, I'll leave it for later on, but it's really something that I'm using since 2023. I'm having really good results. So let's go back to the 1K challenge, where I'm gonna focus the analysis. I'm gonna focus more about the drawdowns that happens here and how I did manage them and why I did manage them. Let's start first with the overall performance, and the second step I'll jump to the accounts, and I'm going to talk about how we are managing drawdown and how we are managing the risk. So the account up till now had made around $800 of profit. Basically, I do regular cash out because sometimes I need money, and this is why we are trading, to get paid. And here basically I'm doing some cash outs. The idea is I have basically all the trades on Euro USD and gold. I'm always starting with 0.01 since the beginning, so I can go and check all the trades. This link is public, so you can go and check it by yourself. So you can see here since the deposit, I'm really trading with 0.01. And if I go to the results, up till now, basically I'm having a decent return. If I take the last 6 months, at least I have 7.8% per month return. What about the drawdown? Let's go up and talk a little bit about the drawdown, and also to jump and talk about how I managed that drawdown. In the drawdown, you can see here I had a big drawdown, around 30%, and I have here a small drawdown that I left that system managed by itself. But if I go to my drawdown, I have a fixed plan and a trading plan that I usually follow, and all the followers on my community know that. Basically, whenever I arrive to 20% of drawdown on the system, I just cut the loss. Whenever I get 20%, 25%, usually on small accounts, I cut the loss. I didn't do this because a particular reason in this case, and I'm gonna show you this on the graphs. Why this 20%? 20%, basically, if you look at the numbers, usually 20% in 2 months, you can get back the loss. So, and it doesn't happen a lot. That happen maybe once per year, once per 2 years. So why not to cut the loss? And instead of blowing your account, you just accept, you take the bullet, you cut the loss, and you have 2 months later on just to get that loss back. And this is the way that works. You will never have a graph that will just go up, go up, go up. You will have up, down, some retracements, and so on. So that's usually what I do. But in this particular case, I didn't. I'm gonna explain it on the graphs. So let us jump to the last part. Let me open my accounts and let me show you how the EA had performed. All right, here I'm on my personal VPS where I run all my EAs, basically my FTMOs, accounts, and all my EAs. I usually create multiple terminals, as you see, but I'm gonna focus only on this one, which is the Newstorm's EA. So let me start with the results. As you can see, my balance now is $1,276. Over the time history, basically, I was working on Euro and gold. So 800 to profit. Let's just check what's the difference between Euro and USD. So Euro, I had around 371. And for the gold, I had 431. So more income in gold than Euro USD. And frankly speaking, you're gonna see it on the graph also. On Euro USD, we have more drawdown than on gold. And I had to deal more with drawdowns on Euro USD during the last 6 months than on gold. Let's jump to the charts and let me show you this. Basically, I run my EAs on 1 minute. On 1 minute, simply because when a trade is triggered and I'm on the charts to see what's happening, I can see what's happening on a low time frame. And certainly because, for example, on gold, that trade doesn't go more than, let's say, 1 to 15 minutes maximum, and it's closed. So, but you can run it on whatever time frame you wish. It doesn't matter. Let me start on gold. Let me go to the H1, so we can have a more visible place. So you can see here for the gold, I never had, let's say, trades that goes from day to day or whatever. So I don't have really drawdowns. All that trades were really clean, closed in less than 50 minutes. You can go also check those trades on my FX book link. They are public, and you can check all the data about them. Frankly speaking, you can go now and do it. This will help us also to validate things. In my FX book, you can just go on the custom analysis. You can go to gold. You can all, and you can analyze. This will give you just the gold graph. On the gold graph, you can see you don't have really drawdown. almost nothing. And what I was interested in to show you is this one, duration. So you have really small duration. Little trades are up to 1 hour, but most of the trades are closed in the 50 minutes. So let me get back to that chart. This is about gold. So gold, nothing to explain here. The system is working. As soon as we have a news, depends on the results, we're triggering a trade, and it is managed automatically by the system. On EURUSD, it's a little bit different. Let's also jump to 1 hour. This will help us to see the difference in how it's handled. You can see automatically that in EURUSD, the trades are handled over multiple days. Also, you need to know that the grid space in EURUSD, it's much bigger than the gold, which explains we have a grid that is managed on multiple days. However, in terms of drawdown, there is a new feature that was deployed in the EA, which is an aggressive drawdown. Before, we had a kind of, whenever we reach a X trade, we try to close the latest trade with the first trade. And the aggressive drawdown, as soon as we start this drawdown reduction algorithm, our goal is just to close all that patch. And the idea I had behind my head when I did this aggressive is, if I had money, I can trade. But if I'm losing money, I'm at a place where I have a margin call, and my margin and my account is no more able to create new trades, and I'm losing my account. So as soon as I feel, or as soon as the system detects that we're not in a good scenario, we're in a scenario where we should maybe just get out and wait for another opportunity. And this is why I created this aggressive drawdown reduction. So as soon as we have as we are inside a scenario where we have drawdown, for example here, as soon as we have a winning trade, I just close the one before with it, and same here. So these two positions were closed here. And I don't really wait until I have all my batches open and so on. And frankly speaking, it is doing better than the previous drawdown reduction, and from results, so money-wise, it's also doing better. So basically, that's the EURUSD. I'm gonna go back and talk about the biggest reduction I had, or biggest drawdown I had. Basically, I had 2 episodes of drawdown, and I have them in the same screen. This one and this one. So in this one, as soon as I hit 20% in June, I wanted to close everything. And as a trader, I did my analysis and told myself, well, basically I should not. I should wait. And why I did this? Let's talk about something else. If you buy a car, basically your goal is to get to your destination a little bit faster. And when you're driving the car, you're deciding which route you're taking and when to stop, and if you want to take a coffee or stop by the McDonald's and take a Big Mac or whatever. So you're deciding your journey from where you start to the destination. We're not at that time where the car now is doing everything for us. We're not yet there, so that's why I'm talking about the car now. Same for the EA. Even those are my EAs, so I did the code. I understand exactly how they do and so on. I don't let the EA really define my destination. And certainly when I'm a trader and I know what are the analysis, and I'm go to the charts, check what's happening and so on. And this decision is one of the decisions that I took, and which cost me 35% drawdown, but I didn't do the cut, so I didn't do the cut at 20% that I usually do. And all of this, why I did it? Let me go to the weekly. Let me show you what I had as analysis. In the weekly, basically, I had the price just getting here. So it did break the highs here, it break the highs here, and it's getting to a resistance area. A resistance area on a week level. So if I just take the high here, and let me take the low of my block, which is here, and let me just change the colors. So let's say blue for start, and let me put the red for the end of the block. Okay, and now let me go back to my H1. So what happens is I saw my trades arriving to this level. So basically on end of June, I saw that my trades have arrived to this level. I wasn't yet on 35%, so I was around 20%. I want to see what I need to do. And basically with my analysis, I'm hitting a major weekly support. And usually all what I need to have this grid close is a little retracement. And hitting a weekly, meaning that I would have this retracement. And this is, if you check for after, I had this retracement. So I had this analysis that told me what I need to do is just give it time. And for me to give it time, I wanted not to get into an area where I will be out of money and I can no more open in new lots, because opening new lots, if you can see it here at 0.18, I have closed everything up here with 4 0.18s that were followed. And I wanted just to give some, let's say, bandwidth or some caution for my system. And if you check here I'm on 11 of June. The 0.18 was opened, and if you go back to my graph to see, because I can see my withdrawal and my deposits, and you can see here in July, sorry, I have added $1,000 and I have taken it out on 3rd of July. And if I go back to my here, so as soon as this 0.18 was open, I wanted to give more cushion to my, or more space for my EA, because based on my analysis, it will not go further and I need just more retracement to close everything. Those $1,000 were not used, because if you can see here, the 0.18 was open, it closed a couple of trades with it, and it did here and here and here. And as soon as on the 3rd of July, basically my system have recovered, I just took out again my money, but I took them out with some profit. So this is how I usually manage my account, especially on small account, like an account of $1,000 can quickly get into an area where you can no more open lots. And if the trade continue against you, you're gonna lose your account. What's the morality about this? The morality is, one, you need to also study the market. You cannot just keep the EA, take trades. Two, when I took the decision to add $1,000, I took a decision based on analysis I have done. It's not just like, oh, I'm out of money on the account, the grid is continuing to create trades, let me add money. No, if you do this, you will end up by losing the initial money and the additional money. If you're doing this, you need to do this based on analysis, based on logical steps that fit in your trading plan. So this is a case that I'm showing you that fits in my trading plan. And frankly speaking, if I wasn't on my, in my analysis, I wasn't on a weekly support where I am waiting for a retracement, I would have cut my loss. And to prove that to you, if I go back to my signals and I go to my bigger account, in October and November 2024, I have cut my loss of 20%. And I go to, and you can see it here. Here it's in K, but if I go just to the change, as soon as I had a 20%, I have cut my loss. And for 2 consecutive months. You tell me, well, you have lost 40%. Yeah, but on 2025, I did more than 40%. So even I cut my loss and let the system recover, even I let my account blown, which is I don't want to do, and you want to do. And basically that's the idea about this EA. It's really doing well. It's really a good EA to get money out and on regular time. It can be a good EA for FTMO and other prop firms under condition to know how to use the risk and to make sure you're respecting the starting risk. It can be just an addition on other accounts or on your manual trade to get, let's say, 0.51% each month. And basically that's it about my EA. So I count on you to go check it if you didn't yet. Use the default signals or the default sets. They are working well. They are my sets and I'm putting them on my account. You can also try to, let's say, create other strategies, other sets, and you're welcome to ask me any question if you need any help. The EA can also work as a swing, for example, whenever you take a trade based on a news, you can leave it for a couple of days and so on. So it's up to you. You can do backtest now because you have this backtest.csv that I upload regularly. It contains the news. As soon as you put it in your folder, just follow here the instructions. You can really do backtest on this news triggered event. That's all for today. Thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for being on my channel. And until the next video, trade safe. Thank you.